Welcome to the Jazz Piano School podcast, episode number 249. My name is Brendan Lowe, creator and founder of Jazz Piano School. In this particular episode, Sterling Koza, one of our amazing Jazz Piano School educators, is going to be going over 5 steps to achieve melodic mastery. Now, it can be argued that if you're performing a solo and you're playing all over the place with no real themes or melodies, it's not going to be that memorable. And that's exactly what Sterling's going to cover. He's going to go over 5 amazing different hacks and strategies to help you achieve melodic mastery in your solos so you can really focus on your thematic development while you're improvising. Go to jazzpianoschool.com to check out all the other free education that we have available. And if you're looking for next steps and more improvement, more help, more progress, we do have a membership available. With that being said, let's dive right into this episode. Here we go.
Hey everybody, it's Sterling here with another podcast. Today we're talking about learning the melodies of jazz standards. Learning tunes is something that we've talked about previously in this podcast series, but this time we're talking specifically about how to really master a melody on any given tune. This is important for a number of reasons. One, because we often focus as piano players on learning the chord changes of a song and don't always give as much attention to the melody, mainly because we usually defer to the melody instruments. Something like, accompanying a vocalist or playing in a group with horns like trumpet or saxophone or even trombone. And usually they've got it covered, but what happens when they're all gone and it's just you? You're playing in a trio, you're playing solo. You got to know that melody. And sometimes, I know I've been caught by surprise several times of melodies that I thought I knew, but really didn't have under my hands. Another good reason to really focus on the melody of the tune is it can give you ideas of how to shape the tune in terms of its character, and also, if a tune has certain trademarks that you can pay more close detail to. So, today we're going to start by looking at How Deep is the Ocean, written by Irving Berlin. And I'm going to show you 5 steps that you can use to really master the melody of this tune. The first would be just to check out the original source, whether that's a lead sheet or something like the original folio version of a tune. So a lot of jazz standards have sheet music that you can find either online or in collections of songbooks of folio arrangements. And that will tell you the original chords, the original key, and the original voicings which are used to play this tune as it was written by the composer. And this can be really valuable, especially because a lot of lead sheets might have some errors in the chords or in the melody. So never take a lead sheet at its word. You always want to cross-check it with either a good version of the song or even if you have it, the original folio. So let's take a look at How Deep is the Ocean, and we're just going to read the melody to start out. So I'm going to pull out my lead sheet, and let's just take a look at this as it was originally written here. So we're in the key of C minor, and it starts on the minor third. So that's the first half, and then it repeats, and so on and so forth. If we looked at the form of this tune, we would know that it's an ABAC, meaning that the first 8 bars is the main theme, and the second 8 bars is a new theme, and then the first 8 bars returns, the second A, which leads us into the C section, which sounds like this. And then we have a nice conclusion. It actually resolves in the key of E flat major. And which leads us back to the top in C minor. So already we found out two things about this melody. One, it begins in the key of C minor on the minor third, which is E flat. And two, that it actually ends on an E flat just where it began, except we're in a new key. We're in the key of E flat major. So just looking at the melody of this tune has already given us some information. So the lead sheet is a great place to start just to get to know the melody. But obviously, we need to know more about the chords and about more importantly, the meaning of the tune. So step 2 would be to check out some different versions of this tune. I would recommend some instrumental versions by Bill Evans and Chet Baker. But the best thing you can do, especially when learning standards, is listen to vocal versions. Couple on this tune which I'd recommend would be Billie Holiday's version. She actually sings it in the key of F minor as opposed to C minor, which is the original key. And Frank Sinatra sings this one in the key of A minor. So checking out vocal versions can be a fun way to experiment with playing the tune in different keys, which also might lead you to some new discoveries. Thirdly, Diana Krall has an interesting version of this tune. So those are 3 vocal versions which would give you some ideas of maybe some intros or arrangements. And of course, checking out your favorite artist's version of this tune to see like what style you want to bring to it. It's a great thing to do. The next thing you want to do is look at the lyrics. So if we looked at the lyrics of this tune, of course they correspond with the melody, and they can tell us, the meaning behind the piece. So this tune starts out with the lyric, "How much do I love you? I'll tell you no lie. How deep is the ocean? How deep is the sky?" And then it says, "How many times a day do I think of you? How many roses are sprinkled with dew?" So this is really a love song. It says, "How much do I love you? I'll tell you no lie. How deep is the ocean? How deep is the sky?" And if we keep going on, "How far would I travel to be where you are? How far is the journey from here to a star? And if I ever lost you, how much would I cry? How deep is the ocean? How deep is the sky?" So this is a very sentimental tune, and you might want to incorporate that into your version as you would play it. But obviously, checking out the lyrics can tell you, how to interpret the tune. But another thing that I discovered recently was that it really can tell you how to phrase the tune. So if we go back to just the melody, let's do the second half. And just playing single notes is a great way to practice this, so that you can focus just on the melody. "How far would I travel to be where you are? How far is the journey from here to a star? And if I ever lost you, how much would I cry? How deep is the ocean? How high is the sky?" So the lyrics really lay it out pretty clearly. That's how this tune is supposed to be played. When we play instrumental music without the aid of a vocalist, we run the risk of kind of interpolating the melody or interpreting it in a different way than it was originally conceived, which is when it starts to be a little less convincing. I think it was Ben Webster that said he never plays a tune without thinking of the melody. If he forgets the melody, he stops playing, which might be a little bit of an exaggeration, but I think it still rings true. So after you learn the lyrics of a tune, you want to be able to play it solo. So this would be the 4th step. You want to play it with the melody and chords to really bring it all together. So here's how I would play this tune, and see if you can hear the lyrics in what I'm playing. just to give it some clarity. So after going through the lyrics and the melody of this tune with kind of a fine-tooth comb, I feel a lot more confident playing it solo because I really know the melody. And the last step that we want to do is think about if you were playing in a trio setting, you'd be using a different set of chords and techniques in jazz piano. So this is when I would pull out my play along and maybe use some more rootless voicings in my left hand. So here's how I'd play this tune, one chorus with a trio. All right, so that was a little demo of How Deep is the Ocean with trio. And we did a solo version, so we've really covered all the bases. We started with the lead sheet, number 1. Number 2, we checked out some different versions, instrumental and vocal. Number 3, we looked at the lyrics. Number 4, we played it solo piano with melody, bass, and chords. And then lastly, we put it all together in a typical jazz trio setting. So I hope this gives you some ideas of ways that you can really master the melody of a tune, and once you have the melody down, then you can go on to improvise over it and you'll be all set, and that's when the fun really begins. So I hope you found this useful. Happy practicing.
All right, well, I hope you guys enjoyed that episode. Don't forget to go to jazzpianoschool.com to check out all of our free, amazing education, all of the free podcast blogs. We do have a membership if you're looking to take a next step forward with us, get access to over 1,000 different jazz piano videos, playbooks, mini courses, a main course curriculum, success path, and so much more. If you have any questions, feel free to email us at support@jazzpianoschool.com. I hope you have a wonderful day, and as always, happy practicing.